we'll come on in here and sit down and on in and just going in and shut this door and then I come back out and get my can. Over on that side of the road, right? Right. When you think about growing up, okay, who are some people when you think young that really influenced your life and really helped mold you and shape you?
There's so many of us. There was probably, there's a message I've actually been working on to teach in churches on family. Family's not always blood. Mm-hmm. And even the ones who wasn't blood to us was still like family to us. And and no matter what, we was always together doing things.
Right.
And everybody had, my brother Eddie had 5 or 6 his age group that stayed together from the holler, and then I had 5, 6, 7, 8 my age group, and then my brother Tommy all the way down. We all had that many,
right? Because
everybody had big families.
Yeah,
and we all had friends of that age group, and they was probably, when I was in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they was probably in the same classroom. 5, 6, 7 of us from the holler together.
Yeah, together.
That was either closely related or the same as related.
Right. Yeah.
So it seemed like we all always got along. If we fought, it was playing fight.
Right.
It was nothing serious. Nobody ever was mad at each other. No feuds or anything like that. It was just everybody got along, and we always had each other's back. We taught each other how to do, to hunt and play sports or whatever that we did at the time.
Yeah. Well, then tell me this: when we talk about this thing, we talk about together and growing up. Mm-hmm. I mean, have you always been at the foot of the cross, or has there been any times in your life maybe you could see the cross a little better from where you was?
Well,
and
since my sisters and my wife might be watching this, I've always been at the foot of the cross.
This is what I say sometimes. Okay, I say I wasn't always as close to the cross as I should have been, but I could always see it from where I was.
Yeah.
So that makes you sort of gives you a cover.
Never beyond the prayers of the ones that was there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Carrying you back.
I like anytime I feel good excuses, I feel the Spirit. Okay.
Have you seen those leashes that people's got? They'll let the dog go out, and when it goes too far, they push a button.
Pull it back. Yeah.
And that's the way I was. If I got a little bit too far, I had people praying for me to pull me right back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is such a blessing, and so many people don't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you don't think about that, but so many people, don't have anybody praying for them.
You're exactly right.
Okay? I mean, they really they don't have anybody praying for them.
And this is a thought. It's really hard to be a first-generation Christian.
Right. Yes.
When you ain't got that example to follow, or that person to praying for you constantly. You're the one that has to pave your own road, set your own standard, and it's a good thing that we got God to walk with us,
Right. But when you really have support, okay, and I mean, and support good, support bad. It's good to have somebody that cares about you a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've said it so many times because I've seen some people who don't have anybody. Okay, they really, when you take a look at their life, they don't have anybody.
Yeah, and things was different then. We got a lot of secondhand Bible. Mm-hmm. We didn't actually have to read it ourselves, but people's conversations today is a lot about sports or politics or things. It wasn't like that then. People's conversations then was the Bible.
Right.
And I learned so much listening to my dad and Steve Hagerman and Burley and Claude Perkins and different people just constantly. When they got together, they would talk for hours. Matter of fact, going in Shop Hollow, there was only certain places you could actually pass another car.
Right. Right.
And when you got to that place and you sit there and if somebody had to back up or something, you sit there, an hour, because they're going to be talking about the Bible.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you get that secondhand information, but still good. It's going to come back to you later on down the road. And you're hearing all this, and that's the way that we grew up. We didn't grow up hearing gossip or anything like that. We heard when their conversations then was about God, and it's what it should be today.
Well, I think, I've said this before, there's things that are, for me, and as a general rule, I've found so many times in life that your good times will make you lazy.
Yeah.
Okay. I've said this, and I said this the other day, and you can go with me either way on this. I believe the devil has brought more people to church than God's people. Here's why. I think that what happens is if the devil had any brains, he'd leave you alone. He'd leave you alone on your path and leave you alone, let you skip along your merry way.
Right.
But when he pokes at people, God's people, and he pokes at people, then their part of them turns back to the Lord that they don't even know about. Okay,
Right.
They begin to turn back. Whereas if he would just leave them alone, they would. Many of your good times tend to make you lazy, but these challenges that we have tend to make us strong.
Right. And the way he works is like if you constantly told your competition where they was weak and where their errors are, they would try to size up.
Right.
You know, if you're a football team and you told the other football team constantly your receivers are weak, your defense is weak or something, and you made them constantly better, then they're going to try to size up. But what the devil wants to do is tell you you're good already.
Right.
You're okay like you are.
Yeah.
And by telling you when you're not okay like you are, that you are okay like you are, then you relax.
Right.
And once you relax and get at ease, then you're at that point where you're never trying to strive to do better or get better. Just like this building we're in. Look at this organization. What if you just had thrown everything in here?
Right.
The contents of this building would still be the same.
Right. Just being a pile, wouldn't it?
Just being a pile, unorganized.
Right.
And the first words that's recorded that God's ever spoke is, "Let there be light." And if you seek the interpretation of that saying, it says, "Let everything come to order."
Yeah.
Everything in its box.
Yeah.
Everything in its place, like it's supposed to be.
Well, let's take it a step further. Why do we need order? So when you need something, you can get it. Okay? The only thing worse than having things, I've said this before. I told somebody, I said, I'm going to buy, for a couple of years, I said, I'm buying these Japanese tools.
Yeah.
And when I use them, I'm going to throw them over the hill after I'm done. So that way I don't think I have tools next time I go to work on something.
Right.
Okay? And I did that a little bit. But now I get them a little better tools. But anyway, I think about this. So what happens is, like you're saying, is if we organize our life. See, I believe either you run your life or your life will run you.
Right.
Okay? That's why I've always, with my kids, I've always stressed to have a plan. Have you a 5-year plan? Have you a 1-year plan? Have a plan. Change your plan if you want to.
Right.
But you got to have a plan in order to see where you're at.
Never get out of the rut without a plan.
So same thing what we talk about in life. With our life, if we can organize our life and be careful with it. And now that doesn't mean that we don't go through things, okay? I mean, life is a journey, man. And there's stuff that happens and things that you go through. And so many things are easier to say than they are done. I got all that figured out, okay?
Right.
But what happens is, it seems like in life there's things we go through, but if we can, I shared this the other day, and we'll take this a step farther, all right? I was sharing with somebody the other day, I said, say you don't believe in the Lord.
Right.
You don't believe in heaven, you don't believe in hell, you don't believe in none of it. If you would still understand, if you'll take the principles of that Bible and use them like a handbook on your life, it'll teach you how to handle your finances, how to handle your children, how husbands and wives should handle each other. It'll teach you what to eat. It'll teach you all these things in your life. If you'll just look at it and say, hold on a second, all right, I don't believe in anything, but I'm going to look at this and I'm going to leaf over to the section that says children. I'm going to leaf over to the section that says, man, you can apply the principles whether you believe them or not.
To still work.
They'll still work, man.
Yeah.
That's fascinating, ain't it?
It is. Yeah.
That really is. I think about that. All right, well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about children. Do you have any?
Yes. I have a ton. and what you just said, applying the principles where you believe it or not, is
Right.
like eating food. Even if you don't like the taste, it's still going to nourish you.
Yeah. Yeah, it still works.